of this TvZ. We will bring you guys updates from the Stefano Crow series. We'll let you guys know what's going on. We'll show some highlights if big fights start to happen. But for the moment, it is going to be to the bottom left-hand side in our fresh series that we're going to be focusing up on here. Our Blue Zerg player from Clash, aLazer. And to the top left, our Red Town player from Wind and Rain is DeMusliM. What he says, let's watch the TvZ 6 times. Well, sometimes it's hard to say different things and to be inventive with the commentary while you're still trying to get into lobbies and you're talking to people and typing on another computer at the same time. It's a sort of flaw with setting up the double PC setup. Sometimes I get a bit distracted while the games do get established and we're making sure we're getting invites. But I think in the long run it's worthwhile to make sure that we get pretty much constant action. We have more series to choose from. If one series ends quickly, we can just jump straight into another game and just keep the action rolling more fluently in general, of course. Command center first from our man DeMusliM on the top side of the map. What a way that is to get things started here. Let me find Naruto. There we go. I'm going to be a little bit lazy here because I'm kind of actually watching the ZVZ. Let's actually hop back to that for just a quick moment. A fight is broken out over here in the ZVZ. Stefano being the aggressor down to the bottom left-hand side, and it looks as though he just has the numbers. I mean, this is kind of what you would probably expect from someone who's just that little bit better in the ZVZ. Just the ability to just straight up out-macro. I mean, look at this. A run by at the same time, picked up a lot of drones. Although actually Crow's starting to get some counter damage done as well at the moment. More reinforcements than Stefano should clean this up, and he should be able to take this first game. There it is, GG. Stefano does just pick up the kill there. And again, I mean, we sort of saw signs that it was heading in that direction anyways, because we saw, you know, again, Nubatized Carapace, I don't think it does much for you. And in a game like this, Nubatized Carapace, that's 4 roaches. And little things like that, you know. Also, we saw Stefano taking a 3 to 4 worker lead. After a few minutes, that becomes significant. And it's those little advantages that really do add up into, you know, into quite a larger advantage over time. And that's why Stefano, you know, you take one big fight like that, and, you know, he just has a bit too much. So Crow gonna have to look for something else in game number 2. But again, we're in this aLazer vs DeMusliM series. aLazer did drop a map to Lilo Cannon. DeMusliM just monster moded his way through Petit Drogo. And let's see what the result will be here. Wouldn't say aLazer's been that kind of dominant Zerg player that we've come to know him as kind of recently. It's been, you know, he's been that kind of Zerg player who's been, we expect good things of him, but he's just not quite delivered, I feel, in 2018. Around a 32 exit at WCS Valencia most recently. Yet on the ladder, he's approaching 7k MMR. He went out yesterday to TL low in the winners bracket. I'm not sure who he lost. I think it was Denver in the lower bracket as well, so his ZVZ looked a bit weak yesterday in qualifier number 1. Obviously, this is ZVT, though, which is actually traditionally the matchup which aLazer has struggled the most in, so we'll see if that's something which is going to show here. Because DeMusliM's playing pretty good. Again, that series against Drogo, really solid stuff, but again, different matchup, a different opponent. Anything can happen as we get ourselves set up and look to see what's going to go on. This is a 1-1-1 setup, so no sort of 2-1-1. I was casting a lot of Korean TvZ the last couple of days, and the 2-1-1 seems to be all the rage again out in Korea. Obviously, we've been seeing that become kind of a feature or a fact again recently, but it really is starting to be used like absolutely every single game once again. Which is kind of crazy that this meta just kind of comes and goes around, that people kind of think 2-1 is unusable for a while, and now suddenly it's being used all of the time again. It's really quite something, as we do see this command center. Third base already on the way up at the front. So DeMusliM just looking for the macro play here on Redshift. Again, it's interesting, I mentioned this earlier, we saw aLazer versus Braddock, just a couple of snippets of it from the second screen, but it was interesting because aLazer let this be the first map in that series as well, and usually Redshift is like the Terran's go-to map pick for TvZ. It's very powerful being to push over here, attack into this position. You can actually hold the gold very easily. You can kind of go 1 base, 2 base, 3 base, 4, and it's a very powerful position. So it's actually pretty interesting in general to kind of watch and to see how it develops. It looks as though aLazer's going to do what he did against Braddock on this map as well, which is to go into a Roach Roaring. And I guess that could be some sort of a response to the fact that we're currently seeing mech. The extra 2 gases are obviously the first sign of that. The 2 factories coming down as well, going to compound that idea obviously, and really solidify the fact that we now do know what DeMusliM is aiming for in this first game. So DeMusliM aiming towards the mech here. As you see, just a couple of evolution chambers coming up towards the natural expansion. aLazer will go straight into those missiles, And we will see. I'm trying to think back if Braddock was playing Mech or Bio, because aLazer definitely played Roach Ravager. And right now, I wouldn't say he's seen anything in particular to kind of identify this as being Mech. So I would say that he might just be playing Roach Ravager on this map in general. Hellions and a Raven setting up in the center of the map. One Zergling going to sit on over to the left-hand side. Holding that watchtower for the moment. A Queen pushing forwards, just wants to get that creep further out. Of course, the Urubu going to try and pretend to be a Crypt Tumor. Look at me. He actually blends in with the Crypt, this little bird, doesn't he? Well, might not want to be here much longer as the fiery Hellions come forwards. They're going to get the Queen. Obviously, the benefit of having the Raven is that you can clean that creep without having to scan as well. So a couple of Crypt Tumors going down. The Queen kill too, not bad for the first few Hellions here. Now 2 4s on the way out, and of course, this was all the rage up until a couple months ago as well. That double 4 job backed up by a lot of Hellbats to kind of get a lot of damage done and keep the Zerg player busy while the Mechan player really gets ready, gets into position, and gets their game going. Hellions and a Raven through the center then as coming forwards. They are going to look to try and pick away at a Queen here. And just trying to do what they did before. Obviously, we're in this position where the Hellions are very expendable because it's mech. You know, you can definitely replace them, you can definitely give them up much more than if you were going into a bio follow-up where you stop Hellion production and you kind of still need the Hellions alive to keep you safe against a lot of attacks in the earlier stages. Just going to be seeing these couple of Crypt Tumors to the right side now being slowed down as well. And again, it's not that DeMusliM's really pushing the creep back, it's that he's stopping it from coming even further forwards. And if he's just keeping the creep right here, well, that's fine, because it gives him so much space to work with around the map when he does decide to push later on, as those 2 4s are ready to go. Now siege tank production will start up as the 4th and 5th factory come down. And, well, a few roaches to the right-hand side might be the biggest issue of all at the moment. They actually might pull these medevacts back home so that he actually has something solid to actually fight those roaches with. That said, though, the medevacts might just pull the roaches back, because it's not like aLazer has a ton of units here. It's a good amount, but, you know, actually 4s with medevacts are pretty, well, micro-capable. It's not a good example of it. It's actually pretty much the opposite of what I thought was going to happen. That should never happen. Losing the 4, that's really bad, because now aLazer's about to hit 1-1, and he's going to be able to go for a very strong +1 missile, +1 carapace timing. As he pushes up here, he's going to be able to come straight on through and get a couple of Hellions already, and now continue towards the upper left-hand side. Only a couple of siege tanks. That natural is completely open. Corrosive Bars will take down both of these tanks with ease, and now it really is just Hellions, because, again, 1 4 went down, the second 4 dies, and DeMusliM has had an absolute disaster here in this game, number 1. I'm not sure what's happened for him, but it really is kind of the polar opposite of how we expected him to play, because compared to the DeMusliM that just kind of took down Drogo 2-0, this was a lot of mistakes, this wasn't pretty. A bit of a larger fight. For now, though, back to the TvZ, to the top right-hand side, our blue Zerg player from Clash, here on Lost and Found for map number 2. He is 1-0 up. It is aLazer. Going up against the red Terran player to the bottom left-hand side from Wind and Rain, DeMusliM. A Reaper on the way out here to get things started from DeMusliM. Obviously, a Reaper expansion is a go-to for the majority of Terran matchups. In TvZ nowadays, we generally only see a singular Reaper. Double Reaper builds just kind of died out. There's no reason to kind of delay the factory any longer. Double Reapers used to be a big thing, but really not anymore. 1 Reaper to come across, and on the other side of the map, well, the hatch gas and pool setup is well underway as well. Now, aLazer pulls out a gas before he hits 100, so that will allow him to take this next hatchery just that little bit faster, because his mineral income is a bit higher than usual. It will delay his Zergling speed, but obviously he doesn't feel like he needs the Ling speed so quickly, otherwise I'm sure he would be doing something about it. Couple more Queens on the way out, and we will see the factory coming down from DeMusliM too. Second gas coming in as well now. So once more, he's not going to be playing the super fast bird CC. He's not going to be playing an extra barracks play. It's going to be something factory, potentially and most likely starport focused, and then moving forwards from there. The Reaper just keeping track of the fact there is a third base. Going to try for the Crypt Tumor kill. The grenade blasts the Queen away, which allows him to keep the Reaper alive. Very nicely done. Very nicely done, actually. This Reaper coming back through the center of the map here. Queen on the way up from aLazer as well. Ling speed on its way up also now. Another Overlord just out towards the front. Just keeping track of when DeMusliM might be starting to move out onto the map here. Obviously, the first few Hellions are going to be one of the first things that really allows him to do that. I will say, guys, things are starting to happen over in that ZVZ though, so let's just jump over here quickly. There's been a few bird roaches moving around from Stefano, something he's invested into in the last few moments. I actually really thought this army over here was actually going to push forwards, and maybe it will now, as we look to see the roaches just all over the place, picking off queens and all sorts. Now the big fight is starting to break out. I'm just going to move my screen over here myself right here. Okay, doesn't really go either way. Crow's actually holding on with army supply lead, but Stefano does have a bank to play with. It looks as though this will continue on for now. Stefano up 10 workers, down in army. But in general, still looking as though he kind of has things under control. So we'll leave that to Stefano and Crow to continue on. Let's focus back up on our TvZ, which, again, not too much happening just yet, but starting to get interesting. Already a tech change from DeMusliM here in game number 2 in comparison to game number 1. He's getting the extra barracks, he's getting stim pack. I mean, bio in general is just as much of a tech switch this could be from the first game, which was obviously mech from the very early stages. So bio play it is this time. As the engineering bays and evolution chambers finish, it looks like both the players will be playing with similar upgrades, which is often a talking point in bio versus Zerg TvZ because, well, it's, you know, it creates windows of opportunity for the Terran to push in, create large aggressive timings, and to get a lot done. Viking out through the center, and we do just see a few lings and a queen or two working their way through these rocks. We've seen this a couple times today from Zerg players. Cleaning out these rocks nice and early on Lost and Found just opens up the pathways so that you can come in, get surrounds more easily, get surrounds more quickly at later stages of the game when you need to come in and jump onto those armies. Viking is going to be coming in and heading up towards the top side, trying to look to see what it can do. The Queen is going to be setting up, looking to push away this Viking though, and just making sure the Viking doesn't get more than it should be able to. One Overlord, and that's all you're getting, he says. I mean, there isn't even another Overlord that's realistically too far out on the map for him to defend. This Overlord gets attacked, Queen is there almost instantly to defend it. I just don't think there's anything else this Viking could do for the moment, obviously. The one thing is, I mean, even if you aren't killing Overlords, you're stopping them from being on the map. As you're stopping them from being on the map, you're basically just saying, okay, well, if you're not on the map, then you don't have map control to kind of see my drops, for example. And that's obviously a big feature of TvZ when you're playing bio. Dropping throughout the game to set up into the later stages is always a huge, huge part of it. What's up, Guaflo, with the 11-month resub on the channel as well. What's up, dude? Thank you so much for the 11 months. Great to have you with us, and thank you so much for almost being here for an entire year as a subscriber. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate the support. It keeps the stream rolling. Well, DeMusliM has his third base down. Obviously, again, not expecting him to be too aggressive yet. Stim just finished in the last few seconds, so as these first two medevacs pop out, this should be the first time that DeMusliM really takes to the map in recent times. 16 Marines and 2 medevacs can get a surprising amount done. I'm not sure about the tank and siege, and that worries me, because that sort of says I want to push. And I'm not sure if he really does want to push. Yes, he's getting 1-1. Combat shields is on the way. Could finish up in time for a fight, depending on how quickly he moves forwards here. Armory a bit delayed, so he will be slightly slower on 2-2. It's just risky, because if aLazer has the numbers he needs to push this back, he is going to be able to work wonders on this. A couple of SCVs go down, and I'm actually not too sure whereabouts that was. If going down, he will get one of these tanks in that position, which allows him to push towards this 4th base. I mean, aLazer should just be able to come around this south side though, right? Come up from here, come in from this direction too. That kind of multi-pronged flank would be great. Baneland speed is not far off, so DeMusliM's time to really do something here is starting to run out just a little bit. Tank shot gets rid of another Zergling that does run forwards. There we go, Lingbane going to run on through, and the tanks have unsieged. Well, I mean, I guess you'll be able to save the tanks with the medevacs, but that's the only positive of this. The Marines get demolished. Big pickup from aLazer. He might even just continue to run across the map here with this aggression. I'm just going to quickly throw us onto throw the ZVZ into the picture-in-picture here, guys. In the bottom right corner, you're going to be seeing blue and red all over the map, because actually this ZVZ has turned into a base trade. Stefano's on the top left side, getting rid of Crow's natural currently. Crow is already in Stefano's natural, making progress as well. There's lurkers up from Crow though, which gives me a little bit of hope for him in the long run. But actually there's lurkers from Stefano as well, so that's kind of intriguing. Over in that ZVZ, it's getting a little bit spicy. Hard to say who's going to be taking it. As just to talk about the TvZ quick again, the Bane's hitting the wall off, but nothing else to be done. Just going to leave that ZVZ up another couple of moments. You can see that Crow is currently in the main base of Stefano as well, picking off tech structures. Army supply is actually very similar now, but Stefano's brought his Vipers home, so it looks as though the rest of the army might come home too. This is really quite the battle between Crow and Stefano down there. Let's actually just swap quickly to that. I'm going to leave this TvZ on the central screen for just a moment, guys, on the picture-in-picture. Let's watch this TvZ, because this is kind of interesting. Crow, he's so far down in army, actually, that maybe this is just very one-sided. He's backed into a corner, and Stefano seems to have the control. There it is. It is just GG. I thought Crow maybe had a bit of a better chance, but it seems like he was just backed into a corner without really many options. Stefano takes that series 2-0, and we'll move on through to the next round of play, where he may very well be ending up playing against Lambo. We'll get some info on that in a moment or two, as we do see these Marines don't have to be lifted up against this army again. Just so much around the map right now. As we are going to be having these Lingmain Hydra just looking to be a little bit too much. We do have confirmation, by the way. It is Stefano versus Lambo next round. We'll get into that matchup on the second screen. Geralt Goblin in the winner bracket round of 8 right now. Art is waiting for either DNS or Rail. Interesting matchups. That top side really could have a little bit of a surprise finisher, I think, coming through here and making some action happen. Well, as you see, these Lings are heading back up to the top, down to the south side. Hydras and Banes starting to work their way through this wall up once again. There's some tanks behind it. It took a while for the Banes to actually help out, but now the Lings flood forwards, and they are going to get on top of these siege tanks. And also, you can see DeMusliM, so much of his army is up to the top. He is now starting to pull it back, but a lot of depots killed. He's going to be heavily supply blocked for a good few moments here. With 8 workers having gone down, we see a few more Banelings on the way up now as well, though. It's going to be a little while, though, before DeMusliM really has much momentum. He's maybe just be able to counterattack now while he has an army supply lead, but I don't know. I mean, Elazer making a lot more Ling Bane. He's not being too greedy. He gets the Greater Spy behind, making Ling Bane Hydra still. And he's just got so much creep as well. Anything DeMusliM does here is going to be pushing so far onto creep. Multiple creep tumors deep. Already you can see the Bane's just so speedy over here, and DeMusliM not paying attention at all, and that could just be the start of the end. I mean, Lings from the left-hand side now as well. Hydra's coming through, so the medevacs are in trouble. They're going to try and lift up what they can. They leave Marauders behind in a hurried pickup process, and it looks as though Elazer is just going to continue crushing down to the bottom left corner, as we do now see the siege tank going down, these Marines and Marauders being picked away at, and it looks like this is just about going to be a GG. Elazer picks up the 2-0, and both of our series here